Hey guys, Krzysztof the Polish Geek, and welcome to my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2026. Because I have to say, it's clear that we might be getting some really awesome bangers actually next year, because I'm very much excited for plenty of those movies on this list actually. So yes, I'm really excited for a lot of movies coming out in 2026. It's shaping up to be a really great year for movies. As long as those movies of course live up to their expectations, of course, but if what we are getting is anything to go by, and also the directors and all that, then 2026 is shaping up to be a really great and exciting year for movies. So here are just my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2026. Coming in number 10 is Spider-Man Brand New Day. And yeah, it's hard these days to get excited for a Marvel movie, and the glory days of Marvel are gone. I haven't been a huge fan of anything post-Endgame, with the exception of No Way Home, as well as Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is still among my favorite Marvel movies ever, actually. But then again, the script was written long before that, long before Endgame was released, so I guess it's kind of a different situation. And also, the most recent Fantastic Four was actually pretty good, but other than that, it's just hard to get excited these days for a Marvel movie. But doesn't change the fact that I am actually kind of looking forward to Spider-Man Brand New Day, especially that from what I'm reading, that apparently it's gonna be much darker than the previous Spider-Man movies, and it's the same writer that wrote the previous three Spider-Man movies, like No Way Home and as well as Far From Home. So all of that does made me kind of look forward to it. Although I did hear rumors that Zendaya is coming back, but I'm really hoping that no, if she does, then it's only for the cameo. Maybe Peter Parker just looking what's her life now without ever remembering him. But other than that, no. It's time for him maybe to go to college and meet the original Mary Jane or Gwen Stacy. And considering Sadie Sink is in it, who knows? Maybe she'll play Gwen Stacy. I actually think that Sadie Sink could be perfect to play Gwen Stacy, but again, it's hard to get excited for a Marvel movie these days, but Spider-Man is the exception, because the Spider-Man movies, if No Way Home and Far From Home were anything to go by, are still very much keeping quality, so I'm cautiously optimistic for Spider-Man Brand New Day, and that's why it's number 10 on this list. And coming in number 9 is Project Hail Mary. And yes, this looks like one of those original, interesting science fiction stories about a random man who was a school teacher but then finds himself aboard a spacecraft, and now it's his job to save Earth from cataclysm. And yeah, that's some really interesting premise. Apparently it's based on a novel that again I haven't read, and even haven't heard anything about the book until the movie was announced. But yes, the premise sounds really interesting, and both trailers, both the previous one and the one released only a few weeks ago, both of the trailers look really good and interesting. So yes, I'm really looking forward to that. Again, there is no guarantee this is actually gonna end up any good, but if we go anything by the directors as well as by the trailers and the premise, then as long as the directors and the creators actually care about what they're doing and actually care about giving us a good quality story with compelling characters, then there is no reason this shouldn't be any good. So yes, Project Hail Mary at number 9. Coming in number 8, and that's a video game adaptation, Mortal Kombat 2. And yes, I am looking forward to it because the trailer just looked really good, and I especially love what they did with Johnny Cage in the trailer, because the Mortal Kombat movie from 2021, let's face it, a lot of people didn't like it because there was this new character, Cole, that no one really cared about, and that was very much detracting from the actual characters from the video games. But this time, the hero is gonna be Johnny Cage, and come on, who doesn't love Johnny Cage? And it's kind of amazing how he's basically this 80s and 90s movie hero basically thrown into the modern world, and all his jokes in the trailer were really funny and all that. And also I really like all the violent scenes in the trailer, kind of like in a typical Mortal Kombat fashion. And don't even get me started on how badass and awesome Shao Kahn looked, much better than he looked in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. But at the same time, it's possible I'm getting a little bit too ahead of myself at this point, because we don't know what the movie will be like until we actually see it, especially that I've gotten way ahead with movies way too often these days, so maybe I'm getting a little bit too ahead of myself so far. But if trailers and what everything seems so far, then this seems like this has the potential to be the best Mortal Kombat movie ever made. But again, it's highly likely I'm getting a little bit too far and ahead of myself, so for now, let's just keep it here at number 8. At number 7 is another video game adaptation, and I'm more cautious and I'm more optimistic for that one actually, because that's Super Mario Galaxy. And why am I more optimistic for Super Mario Galaxy? Because the first Super Mario movie was really good, and I ended up having a really great time with it, and I really enjoyed it. Like, the animation was so splendid and so detailed, and even though it was very much pure fan service, who cares? Sometimes those are the type of things you need, and even then, I still think it's very much a passable movie for the families. Like, my niece really enjoyed the Super Mario Bros. Movie, as did my 4-year-old nephew. But Super Mario Galaxy looks like a sequel that's gonna expand that upon the world of Mario and all. The only thing that the only thing that gives me a little bit of a pause is I do think they are introducing Super Mario Galaxy way too fast. I think they should go with the original plan of do Super Mario World first and then Super Mario Galaxy as the third movie. But then again, because I really enjoyed the Super Mario movie, I am optimistic about that, because I also trust that the creators do know what they are doing. Like, the first movie proved that they very much do care for the Mario franchise, so because of that, I have no reason not to trust that this is gonna end up really good. Again, it probably is gonna be pretty much for Nintendo fans, kind of like the first Mario movie, but I am a Nintendo fan, so that's a good thing for me, I guess. But yes, the Super Mario Galaxy movie, I really enjoyed the first Mario movie, and I'm really looking forward to the Super Mario Bros. Galaxy. Coming in number 6, and I can't believe I'm saying it, because in a normal world this should be my number 1 actually, and it very much was when it was announced in the beginning of this year, because number 6 is Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. And I can't believe I'm saying it, and I kind of feel, and I'm not really happy that I have to put it only here, because again, in a normal world, not only this should be my number 1, this should be my most anticipated movie of this decade, because I'm a huge Greek mythology aficionado. I love Greek mythology, and I also love Christopher Nolan. I think he's one of the greatest directors ever, and certainly among the best modern directors. And anything that Christopher Nolan puts out, you can betcha that I'm completely on board with that. I heard that his next project is gonna be The Odyssey. I was like so excited, and like, no words could describe the feeling how excited I got. And especially that, again, I love Greek mythology and The Odyssey, and I love Christopher Nolan, so I thought it was basically like a match made in heaven. Christopher Nolan directing The Odyssey. So yes, in the normal world, not only this should be my number 1, but this should also be my very much most anticipated movie of this decade. And I even made a video on that in the beginning of the year actually, about my excitement for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. So how come it's only at number 6? Well, because first we see the images, and the armor unfortunately looks kinda like dull and grayish, kinda like simple, instead of like basically a colorful armor that really did exist in those days. Like, but the armor not being accurate, that I guess I could kinda look past, but the biggest issue I have is the casting. Like, Zendaya as Athena, seriously? Or like, what even is Lupita doing in this movie? Or Ellen Page, like, this is like probably among the wokest castings I ever seen, so. And it seems like Christopher Nolan might have bent the knee, unfortunately, to the mob, sadly. Like, again, it's nothing against the actors, but this is supposed to be taking place in ancient Greece, and I just don't see them fitting anywhere in the roles. Like, again, Zendaya as Athena especially, like, it just makes no sense. So, honestly, because, like, Matt Damon as Odysseus, I mean, he could pass. Again, I'm not a huge fan of Matt Damon either, honestly, but I guess he could pass as Odysseus. And Tom Holland as his son Telemachus, now, that's a much better casting, but honestly, what a shame. Again, in a normal world, this should be my most anticipated movie of the year. Probably my most anticipated movie of this decade, honestly. But after all the more information with how the armor sets look like and the plenty of the castings just don't fit into the Odyssey, that's what pushes all the way to number 6. And the only reason even it stayed on the list in the first place is because it's still Christopher Nolan, and I just love Christopher Nolan. And I'm still clinging on to a small hope that maybe I'm actually impressed, that maybe all my fears and doubts will be completely unfounded and the movie ends up being among the best Christopher Nolan movies. I'm still clinging on to that hope. But again, if some of the casting choices and the set pieces and the armor are anything to go by, then unfortunately things don't look good for the Odyssey, which is again a shame because that's Christopher Nolan. Oh well. And at number 5 is Young Washington by Angel Studios. And this, on the other hand, I am looking forward to it, but at the same time, I don't know if there will be a good way to watch it, because unfortunately I'm afraid that it might not get any cinematic release here in Poland, which is gonna be a real shame, because I'm really looking forward to it. Like Angel Studios with their movies they made, like I've only seen 2 so far of the movies they made, but I really ended up loving both of them. Sound of Freedom especially, and I still think it's a very important movie that everyone should see, and then Cabrini as well. But so now they're seemingly going for a historical epic biopic about young George Washington, which makes me really look forward to it, especially that I do love period pieces, and I think George Washington is a very fascinating historical figure. Like, if you ever asked me who the best president of the United States was, I would very much choose George Washington. Again, probably a cliche choice, I know, but he set the precedent. And also, yes, I think that if I ever had to pick the greatest president of the United States in history, then it would easily be George Washington, and he would certainly be very disappointed in the modern political climate. Like, he probably wouldn't like any modern United States politician. He would just be disappointed in how the country is divided these days. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I lived in the United States for 8 years, 3 years in Rhode Island and 5 in Vermont. So yes, and I'm a history aficionado as well, so yes, I'm really looking forward to Young Washington, but unfortunately, I don't know if I'll have any way to watch it, sadly, though. Like, Sound of Freedom did get a cinematic release in Poland, but it was like only 2 months after it was actually released in the United States, and I was lucky to have been in the United States at the time it was released, so I got to see it when it came out, because I was in the United States at the time the movie came out actually, and managed to see it there. But maybe I'll have to visit the United States to visit some old friends once again, just to see Young Washington. Who knows? But either way, don't know how I'll be able to watch it, unless it hopefully gets a cinematic release in Poland, but if not, then I don't know how I'll be able to watch it, but I will go out my way to watch it if I can. So Young Washington at number 5. Number 4, and that's Dune Messiah, or Dune Part 3. I'm not sure what's the movie actually gonna be called, but let's just say Dune Messiah for now, because I very much loved the first 2 Dune movies. Like, the first Dune was just a setup, and then Dune Part 2 was so much better in every way. It was a amazing payoff, and yes, I still think that both Dune and Dune Part 2 are really epic science fiction movies, especially, and I think they done the book justice, because I did read actually the first Dune book, and it consists and basically it's like the first Dune book split into 2 parts, and I really love that. So yes, I think the 2 Dune movies very much did the book justice, and it's clear to me how much love and passion Denis Villeneuve has for the novel, even though there were several changes, mostly involving the little sister of Paul Atreides, who was already born actually in the book, and I admit I wasn't particularly fond of those changes, but then again, you can't really have a 100% faithful adaptation, and Dune Messiah is seemingly gonna be based on the second Dune novel, Dune Messiah, which I haven't read and I'm not planning to read it. I mean, I am, but after the movie, because I wanna go completely blind, because with the first two Dune movies I already kind of was predicting what was gonna happen, because again, I read the book, so I knew things that were gonna happen, but with Dune Messiah, on the other hand, I'm gonna go in completely blind because I haven't read Dune Messiah. But what I did hear about it is that it's very heavy on political intrigue and all, which is gonna be pretty interesting and unique because, like, there was already plenty of political intriguing in the first two Dune movies, but there was also plenty of action and all that. While Dune Messiah is apparently gonna be a lot more political intrigue heavy, which will be fascinating. Really. So, again, I love the first two Dune movies. I think they are among the greatest movies of this decade and really epic duology. So now, having a third Dune movie based on the second Dune novel, Dune Messiah, which I haven't read, is gonna be really exciting, especially that Denis Villeneuve has proved that he very much loves Dune. So, very much excited for Dune Messiah or Dune Part 3, we'll see what it's gonna be called, at number 3. And that's Asterix, the Kingdom of Nubia. And yes, if you've been watching my channel, you know I'm a huge fan of Asterix and Obelix comics, as well as their animated movies, with my favorite being the 12 Tasks of Asterix, but I also really love the recent animated series on Netflix, Asterix and Obelix The Big Fight. Like, that was really splendid. And I also really love the live action movie Asterix and Obelix Take on Caesar, or animated one The Secret of the Magic Potion. But let's just say I'm a huge fan of Asterix and Obelix, both the comics and the animated movies, and the first two live action movies. So I'm just excited to see another movie, another Asterix movie in the works. And the premise apparently that all the Gauls in the Gaul village are turning into little children, and then Asterix and Obelix embark on a journey to Africa to restore the village to normal. That sounds like a really exciting premise. I mean, typical Asterix, typical satire absurd Asterix premise, and that's what you're looking for in the Asterix movies and comics. So, again, if there is any new Asterix project announced, again, you betcha that I'm completely on board with that, because I love Asterix and Obelix so much. So, Asterix and the Kingdom of Nubia at number 3. And the number 2 is another animated movie, the very recently announced animated movie, Wild Dude by Laika, because I do quite like Laika Studios. I think that all their animated projects have been really good. Like, Coraline is basically an animated horror movie, and then Kubo and the Two Strings is an epic fantasy in feudal Japan, and then Missing Link, on the other hand, is an Indiana Jones adventure story. And I also really like the Box Trolls, although I'm not sure what type of genre I would classify the Box Trolls as, but I do like the Box Trolls. So, yes, like, of course, when the new project by Laika was announced, I was very much excited, and the premise of Wild Dude, which sounds like it's gonna be an epic fantasy about a girl trying to rescue her baby brother, actually, from some fantasy world, that sounds like a really exciting premise. And from what you're saying, that this is apparently gonna be their most epic project to date, which is obviously just marketing, but again, it's a Laika studio, and I liked every animated project by Laika, and the premise sounds really exciting, so as does the animation and all that. So I am very much looking forward to a new movie by Laika. So yes, I'm very much looking forward to Wild Dude, and and in the United States apparently it's actually coming out only in January. Hopefully here too, actually. But yes, very much looking forward to Wild Dude. Love Laika Studios, liked every single one of their animated movies, so that's why I'm very much excited for Wild Dude. But my number one most anticipated movie of 2026 is Werewolf by Robert Eggers. And come on, that was pretty predictable. Like, anytime Robert Eggers is directing a new movie, I'm completely on board with that. Like, Robert Eggers has very much proved himself, and he hasn't disappointed me a single time. Like, each of his movies was amazing. Like, The Witch was awesome, as was The Lighthouse, and The Northman and Nosferatu are both still among my favorite movies of this decade, and I'm still have a hard time picking if I prefer The Northman or Nosferatu. It kind of goes back and forth actually, but I really love both of those movies. Like, Nosferatu was my favorite movie of last year, and The Northman was among my favorite movies of 2022. So yeah, Robert Eggers has proved himself to me, so there is no reason to suspect he will disappoint me, especially that even Werewolf, the premise even sounds really exciting, that it's gonna be about a werewolf in medieval England, and of course there's gonna be plenty of historical authenticity. I mean, it's Robert Eggers, and historical authenticity is basically his specialty, which is one of the major reasons I love him so much. But also another thing is that the premise, apparently they say that it's gonna be his scariest movies yet. I mean, like, I can't picture that. I don't know how could you possibly top The Witch or Nosferatu, but especially that those movies, especially The Witch, actually were more scary at like on a thematic level as opposed to like a surface level. I mean, like, The Witch was scary and disturbing on a thematic level, whereas Nosferatu was very scary surface level, and there was some, and it was kind of scary on a thematic level as well. So I don't know how could Werewolf possibly top the scariness and disturbingness of Nosferatu and The Witch, but I trust Robert Eggers. And again, it doesn't really need to top, because sometimes I'm not necessarily expecting his scariest movie, just another awesome movie by Robert Eggers. And again, Robert Eggers has proved himself to me time and time again, so anytime he's directing a new movie, you betcha I'm completely on board with that. So of course, I'm very much on board with Werewolf, and why it's my most anticipated movie of the year. Especially that the casting also seems good, like in contrast to the Nolan's Odyssey. It seems like Eggers very much still cares about good casting. So far, again, Robert Eggers has very much proved himself to me, and he hasn't disappointed me a single time. And this new premise of his new movie about, again, a werewolf in medieval English village sounds super exciting. So that's why Werewolf is very much my most anticipated movie of 2026, and nothing even comes close. And one more thing I want to mention, we also do know that Robert Eggers is actually directing A Christmas Carol, which also excites me because I'm a huge fan of The Christmas Carol. Like, who knows, is it gonna be a very faithful retelling of the book, or maybe Robert Eggers is gonna take a much darker and more violent and grotesque approach, kind of like a 2019 version of Christmas Carol? Who knows, but I know one thing is certain. I trust Robert Eggers is gonna make a great decision, whether he chooses to faithfully retell The Christmas Carol or actually give a much darker, more violent and grotesque approach to it. I don't care, either way, I very much trust Robert Eggers, which again, why Werewolf is very much my most anticipated movie of 2026. So, thank you everyone for checking out this video. Press the like button, please subscribe to this channel, and tell me your top 10 favorite movies of 2026. What are your most anticipated movies of 2026? Which movies do you look more for the most in 2026? And talk to you later. Bye.